I have this question like burned into my memory in the voice of Dan Kennedy. So this is Dan Kennedy's USP or unique selling proposition question. And it may not be original to him, but again, it's burned into my memory in his voice. Why should I, your perfect prospect, choose to do business with you over every other option available to me in the marketplace, including doing it myself, going with a competitor, or doing nothing at all? Why should I, your perfect prospect, choose to do business with you over every other option available to me in the marketplace, including doing it myself, going with a competitor, or doing nothing at all? If you can answer that question, and you can very clearly state the answer to that question in a way that resonates, that is compelling to your perfect prospect, you have made the sale. And there is so much more to it. There is so much more to it. But if you don't have that answer to that question held with clarity in your mind as you are creating your marketing materials, your selling materials, your advertisement, what is quite likely to happen is that you create advertising, marketing, selling materials that are interesting, but that somehow lack focus, that somehow lack direction, that somehow lack a core intention of how it can improve the prospect's life. And you need to identify that core intention of how you can help your prospect if you really, really want to be highly effective at selling. So what does this question say? Why should I, your perfect prospect, choose to do business with you over every other option available to me in the marketplace, including doing it myself, going with a competitor, or doing nothing at all? So I've talked about this quite often before, that a product or a service is a solution to a problem. A market is a group of people that have a problem. And so why should I, your perfect prospect, choose to do business with you over every other option available to me in the marketplace? What that's asking is why are you better equipped to solve my problem than everybody else? Versus doing it myself, which would be solving the problem myself, going with a competitor, which would be some other business has a better solution, or doing nothing at all, which would be making the decision that, hey, this problem is not urgent enough in my life. It's not pressing enough in my life to actually solve it. And so you do have to overcome these different obstacles to the sale. So one of the things, where most people think of a unique selling proposition is just in the realm of where do I fit versus the competition, right? And that's an important part of it. What, feature set, benefit set do you uniquely provide the customer that your competitors don't? How are you better equipped? What does your expertise allow you to do that your competitors can't do when it comes to solving the client's problem? And so get clear on that. But the other thing that you should note here is that somebody might not choose to go to a competitor. They might choose to do a DIY. So, if it's like a home improvement service, is somebody going to go with a remodeler, or are they going to do it themselves, right? So you have to address that question. For example, when we had an addition built on our house and our kitchen completely redone, gutted, brick wall taken out, I knew, I can handle home improvement projects, but I knew that I could not do this addition on the house. That was far beyond. So it was very clear that that was a problem that I wasn't going to solve myself, right? And I needed somebody who could do that. Versus, say, when it comes time to sit down and write my next sales letter, I could hire a copywriter, or I could do it myself. And that copywriter is going to have to provide some significant advantage. And by the way, I'm not asking right now. That copywriter is going to have to provide some significant advantage over my own copy in order for me to feel like, yeah, like this is the solution that I need. Or doing nothing at all, like choosing not to pursue the solution to this problem. So I'm going to have to feel a certain agitation, an emotional agitation around the problem, and a desperate desire to solve this problem, or desperate desire to pursue the opportunity. If I'm actually just going to make that decision to solve the problem today. And there's a lot of problems in our life that we look at and we even identify as a problem, and it can be a little bit frustrating, but we choose not to do anything about it, at least not yet. And so as a marketer, as a salesperson, as a persuader, it's up to you to identify what are the ultimate courses of action that your prospect might take. They might choose to solve the problem themselves. Why would they be advantaged to do business with you, to pursue your solution to their problem rather than solving the problem themselves? Maybe it's because you have this expertise. You're able to do it faster, easier, more affordably than they would be able to do it themselves. You can do a better job. You can give them more security around the likelihood of the solution, of the result. So there's going to be reasons why they may not choose the doing it themselves route. There's going to be reasons why they may choose, why you would encourage them to actually solve the problem as opposed to leaving it unsolved. So if you leave this problem unsolved, here are, and we look 3 years in the future, we look 5 years, 10 years, 20 years in the future, here are the consequences in your life from not dealing with this today when it's a problem that's easily able to be solved. And so I think of like debt as something like this. Solving debt early, addressing debt early is hugely beneficial versus, okay, you have some debt and it's not pressing, like you can cover your minimum payments, but it's and you could put it off and you could put it off and you could put it off. But if you do that, there's a consequence, a growing, building consequence of having this problem unsolved. And in what way is the problem that you solve like debt, where there's a growing consequence of leaving it unsolved? In what way is it critical that they solve the problem today versus leave it unsolved? And then the most common one is the third course of action being to go with a competitor, to go with a competitive product or service. What advantages does yours provide? And actually, if you think through my PAISA formula, which is a formula that I often teach for persuasive conversations and for persuasive copy, is that you have to recognize and be able to speak to the problem itself, define the problem, say, if these are the symptoms that you are experiencing, and I'm not just talking medical symptoms, but if these are the symptoms that you're experiencing, here is the problem that you are facing. Define the agitation. So P, problem, A, agitation. And identify, this is a problem that does need to be solved. Like you're experiencing these symptoms right now and they may not be that bad, but the consequences of ignoring these symptoms and letting the problem grow and fester are, it's dire consequences. And so this is a problem that it's better to solve sooner rather than later. And then, so that's P, problem, A, agitate, I is invalidate. And this is where you actually do the competitive comparison, and not just competitive comparison in terms of competing products and services, but competitive comparison to doing it yourself. So, why have other solutions fallen short? What don't they understand about the problem? What critical missing ingredient have they completely spaced that is required to actually come up with a legitimate and complete and total or advantageous solution to the problem? So why are other solutions invalid? Problem, agitate, invalidate, solve. Okay, this is not specifically saying your product yet. But when you define the criteria of what an effective solution looks like, you would typically align it with what your product's features or your service's features are. So you've talked about the problem, and you've talked about the agitation, why it needs to be solved. You've talked about what's made other solutions invalid. Now you start to define what an ideal solution looks like. And when you are doing this from the context of the answer to the USP question, you are clearly able to delineate, to lay out the different elements that make your solution advantageous, right? That answer that question: why should I, your perfect prospect, choose to do business with you over every other option available to me in the marketplace? And so you define the criteria of what makes a good solution. And then, and only then, once you have done that, you tie it back and you essentially do answer that question. You answer that USP question: why should I, your perfect prospect, choose to do business with you over every other option available to me in the marketplace? You answer by saying, ours is the only solution that does this. Ours is the first and only solution that follows these criteria that we've laid out and identified as the perfect solution. And that's where you are introducing your product. And we get to the A, PAISA, problem, agitate, invalidate, solve, ask. So we ask them, we make an offer of our product, which maps to the ideal solution, and we ask them to take action on that. And at that point, it should be a very easy decision, because we have essentially answered that through everything we've done up until this point. We've said, here's the problem that you're facing, and here's what you need to understand about this problem. Here is why this problem is so important to solve now, and the consequences of leaving it unsolved that you're probably starting to recognize as a result of the symptoms that you're experiencing. Here is why other solutions out there are not actually going to be a great solution for you. Here's why they are invalid. And here's what an ideal solution needs to look like for you to actually get a complete solution to this problem. And in fact, our solution is the first and only product or service designed specifically around being that ideal solution that we've identified here. And so if you would like to avail yourself of the benefits of this solution, if you would like to solve this problem in the fastest, easiest, best value of a path through that problem, then our solution is that for you. And here's how you avail yourself of that. Okay, so that's Dan Kennedy's USP question, and that is specifically how to structure a sales message that addresses it, not even necessarily directly, although at certain points in the sales message it will address it directly, but that addresses it also indirectly, and that walks the buyer through everything that they are going to think about to hit that question from the different angles, so that they do in the end have at least a gut level knowing of why they, your perfect prospect, should choose to do business with you over every other option available to them in the marketplace, including doing it themselves, solving the problem themselves, going with a competitor's solution, or choosing to do nothing about the problem at all today. And if you do that right, it becomes very easy to make sales. So my name is Roy Furr. This has been a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Have you found it valuable? I hope that you have. I would love for you to leave a comment below and leave a rating in that comment on a scale of 1 to 10 about how much value you got from this. 1 being lowest, 10 being the highest value. And why? Tell me why. Like, what's your biggest takeaway? What's your biggest action item? How has this changed your perspective or the next actions that you're going to take in creating your next selling message? Leave a comment below. Let me know. Click the like button before you go as well, so that you'll get more content like this delivered to you. Also, so the magical algorithms of the internet know to share this with people like you who would get a ton of value from it. If you know somebody in your life who would get value from this, you can certainly share it with them directly. And make sure you're subscribed before you go. Click the subscribe button. Also, you can go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com, get my daily emails Monday through Friday, including these videos and additional training for marketers, copywriters, entrepreneurs, business builders, and anybody who is using effective marketing to better their business, better their life, better the world around them. Again, my name is Roy Furr. This has been a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. I always aim for that 10 out of 10 value. I hope that I've delivered that here today. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again in your next video. See you soon. Bye.